Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit of work on this Tecumseh 55 lawnmower engine. Stay tuned. So, a lawnmower engine with no deck, no handles, no nothing, just the engine. So I got this given and I wasn't really going to do a video on it. I was going to take the carb off because these do come in handy. Maybe the muffler, but the carb, and I was going to take the fuel tank off because I do need to make myself some sort of fuel tank that I can hang up, maybe up here, and feed a line for when I work on engines, so I don't have to keep relying on the fuel tank that comes with a motor. So I just thought I could use this tank for that, keep the carb, I don't know, maybe the coil pack, just a few things I was going to keep. But then I thought, I'll see if it runs. It may actually run. I don't think it does. I got it given and I'm pretty sure the engine is junk, but I figured I might make an interesting video. Everything's covered in oil, so I'm not too sure why. Yeah, everything's quite wet, so maybe it's leaking oil, maybe it's cracked, I don't know, but might make a good video, so stick around. So I don't know too much about this engine in particular. It's a Tecumseh. Normally get Briggs and Hondas, but this brand over here in the UK, don't often come across them. It's pretty basic. You have the shaft at the bottom. I have it on these have it on this timber so I can start it and not have that dig into anything. They're quite difficult to start these. You need to mount them down somehow, so I just used a couple of bolts and bolted it down to the timber. I have checked for compression and it seems pretty decent. It seems to be okay. I've not checked for oil. Yeah, that's no oil, so it may have been drained. I'm glad I checked that before I try to start it. There won't be any fuel in, I don't think, because the cap, it looks empty. The cap was kind of just on like that, so if there was fuel, it would have evaporated. So I was going to suggest possibly taking the carb off and checking that, but don't know, I might just put some fuel in and some oil. Obviously we need some oil. Actually, we took the ball off. Let's take the ball off and see what's in the bottom. Oh dear. Right, it's full of oil. So I think that answers the question to where is the oil. This has been stored on its side or upside down. That is absolutely full. So if we want any chance of this running, I'm gonna have to pull the carb. Do you know, it's a shame because the oil is actually pretty decent. So I think this is going to be full of oil. Yep. Let's give this a couple of pulls. This is going to smoke like a good one. This, if this fires up, wow, it's going to be a smoke show for sure. I mean, that is pretty wet. I wonder if the air filter has got, oh yes, air filter is completely saturated with oil. Man, this is why with engines like this, where there's no base, you've got no way to put them flat on a surface. I don't like leaving them with oil. I assumed, when I seen that there was no oil in the engine, I just assumed it had been drained. Because that's what I do with engines like this, to prevent this. So, is this engine, well, maybe this is why I was given it, because it doesn't run. Maybe the engine is okay, it's just the fact that it's been on its side. Right, let's try and get this carb off. I can obviously get access to this bolt, but the one on the other side, that's going to be quite tricky. Hopefully it's got a slit in it so I can just loosen it and it should slide over, but I can't feel that that's the case. So I think it's going to be a bit tricky. Possibly I have to remove this plate off the top to get access. It's quite a clean engine. It's got a bit of oil splatter around it, but for a lawnmower engine it's actually in pretty decent nick. So I've got about half an hour before I need to get going, so let's see how much I can get done. If we get that off, and that gives me slightly better access. I should really take this tin off, but I don't really want to go that far because that will be the fuel tank as well. So let's just see. Oh, there we go. To get this back on, I might have to take the tin off, but at least I can get this in the ultrasonic cleaner. I could clean it with carb cleaner, but this is absolutely full of oil. I think this is going to need more than a little bit of a spray. It's going to need a hot wash. So if we just get that off. Like so. So it's straight in the back corner bit goes in the top. Let's get this clip off, retaining clip. It's actually quite nice to work on something so clean. Like normally these are just brittle and they just break. It's actually in decent condition, other than the fact it's coated in oil. So we keep that separate, so that can go in the ultrasonic. Still need cleaning out, but I may as well put it in the ultrasonic first before doing that. So you don't want to put these in, so keep them separate. Let's see if we can get this float off. The idle adjustment screw can stay, and that's not really doing anything. It's a pretty simple carb. There's a cover over here which is probably hiding something. It's actually pretty clear, so I'll just turn this on. Might take some time to heat up. I've actually just replaced this last night. I did a carb last night on a project that I'm working on. You guys will not have seen that video yet because I've had to order a part. I've ordered it, and turns out I've ordered it from China, so that might be a few weeks before that video comes out, but hopefully once that carb turns up I'll be able to finish that generator and get the video out to you guys. But for the time being, I'm going to get these into the ultrasonic, run that for 20 minutes, probably 40 just because of all the oil, and see how they come out. I like to use this strainer, I've mentioned this before, for the small parts because they just fall straight through the basket. And when this ultrasonic cleaner is hot, it's not ideal to put your fingers in and try digging around trying to find a spring. I'll turn it on, it heats up faster when it's turned on, but it's quite loud, so I'll bring you guys back once these are finished. So I've already taken the air compressor and blew out all the water, and it is a lot cleaner. It actually resembles a carb now and not something you would find in the bottom of a sump. So I'm just going to go through everything with some carb cleaner and reassemble it. During using compressed air, I've blew the seat out of the carb, which means that it will overfuel. The bowl, the float will not cut off the fuel supply. That didn't look removable, but clearly it was. I can't see it anywhere on the bench, so it is probably somewhere in the garage. This will run, but it will overfuel and it'll probably overflow the carb. So I'll have to control the flow of fuel, and if the engine's not running, quickly turn it off. But that should be enough for testing, because that's all this is for, testing to see if the engine's gonna run. It's a shame that came out. I may be able to find it, I'll have a look, but if I can't, I'll just have to make do with this. And we'll get this one in. And that is the carb done. Let's try and get this carb back on. I think it's going to be quite tricky, but we'll try. I'm sure it can't be that tricky. It would be a lot easier if I removed the tins at the top, the fuel tank, but for what we're doing with this, it's not really worth the effort. Now the question is, which one went to the carb and which hole? Because there's quite a few. That one looks worn, so we'll go with this one. Yeah, that looks about right. You can see where it's been rubbing on the actual metal, so I think that is the right one. That side went there. That should probably go under and over. Yeah, that looks right. We'll give that a go. So, bit of fuel. Getting this spark plug back in. I did clean it up, so hopefully that should be okay. Now this is full of oil inside of there, and normally I would spray something in there and crank it over a few times, and that would clear most of it out, but I think it'd be more entertaining to see all the smoke come out, so we'll leave that as it is. And that is not a 21. We have ignition. In fact, actually, didn't even check for spark. Guess we'll find out. Let's put a strap. Right, so I left this on because, as I say, this will overflow. So I'll remove this and start the engine. I could probably use this to kill the engine also. Okay, so it's been a while. It's been 6 weeks, I think, 7 weeks since I've did any work on this. The environment has changed. Basically, I've been ill for quite some time, and then to top it off, I got COVID. I have been okay for about 2 or 3 days. I recently replaced the front springs on the Range Rover Evoque, which, as you can see, needed to be done. So I got that done, and having done that task, I feel well enough now to start actually getting back to normal projects. So we'll get back to this. Now, I can't remember fully what we did. I remember this was overflown, and I'm pretty sure it was backfiring oil. Obviously there was oil in the cylinder, and I think that might have gummed up the carb, but it was overflowing oil because we lost the seat. And oddly enough, the seat in these carbs is tiny, and I heard it come out, I believe, if I remember right, when I used the air compressor. I put some air through the actual carb itself, and I think I heard something come off, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just some mesh or some sort of screening that was over the top. I was tidying up, and it was down here somewhere. I think I was doing a water change on the fish tank. That's right. And that is my salt for the marine fish tank that I have. And when I pulled the bucket out, this was underneath the bucket, this tiny little piece of rubber, and that is the seat. You can probably make out the writing on the top. It's got a number. That is the seat off the carb. So I'm going to pull this carb off, maybe just give it a clean with some carb cleaner because it's probably a bit gunky in there off the oil. Install the seat. We'll put this back together. I'll double check the linkage. I'm pretty sure the linkage is correct. It's pretty standard on these carbs. I've only ever worked on a few in the past, but it's many years ago. I'm pretty sure they're all kind of the same setup, and give it a go. Make sure we reuse this gasket. It's got indentations on this side, so that bit does go that way around. So we'll leave that on there, remove the linkage. And the fuel. Thought the fuel was drained. So let's get this float ball off. Just make sure the fuel's all out of there. There's probably still quite a bit inside, to be fair. Be ½ inch. Oh, there it goes. So all I'm going to do here is install the seat and quickly put it all back together. So let's remove the float. Yeah, it's a metal tip, and inside there is metal, so obviously you've got no sealing. Put some glasses on. You don't want this in your eyes, trust me, I've done it before. Give it a quick clean out, and then reassemble it. Hopefully it's okay. I've actually pulled out the emulsion tube. There's a plastic emulsion tube in this. It's only got 2 nozzles on it, so there's not really much that can get blocked. I wanted to make sure the O-ring, there's an O-ring in there, that it's actually seated correctly. There's like a lip that it sits on, and it is, so that's okay. There is a special tool that you can use, which I don't have. A drill bit or something a little bit smaller, and just push it up in place. And that's it. So we can reassemble this now, and well, it should be okay. There you go, that's better. The seat wasn't all the way down, and I thought it was. So we'll intake is that way. So if I put that needle in and get the float back on, like so, and get the pin through, hopefully that'll now seal and we won't be flooding the carb. Let's put that on first, and then the low point needs to be where the float drops, otherwise it won't be able to fully drop down, kind of like that. Put that on top. And let's nip this up. So the float down, float up. Great. So I think it'd be smart to check the plug, make sure it's not fouled. In fact, actually we'll check for spark, because we need spark. Looks pretty clean actually, so I'll just give it a quick check, make sure we've got spark. Yeah, we've got plenty of spark, so let's put this back together and give it some fuel, because the carb's on. The carb should be okay now. We have spark, we've got plenty there, so let's use some fuel and we'll give it a try. So I have primed the bowl. It's not overflown, that's good. So hopefully this should start. Let's give it a go. Well, I hope that was caught on film. Basically, this pipe, this tube, it shot out. The flywheel caught this lip. It's normally obviously bolted to the actual casing, which I've taken off, and it basically catapulted it in the air. We have oil on my sealant. It is all over the bench, over everything, even over myself. So that's a mess. So as you guys have seen, with the drill and putting carb cleaner and brake cleaner down its throat. So where does that leave us? Timing, possibly. Has it got compression? It feels like it's got compression. I'm assuming I did a compression test. Did I? Okay, it might be worth doing a compression test actually. I can't imagine I'll go this far without doing a compression test. It feels like it's got decent compression. You can feel it. So yeah, I don't know. Odd. Tell you what, let's just put some fuel down its throat and try that. Yeah, so still nothing. And that's with fuel poured in the head in direct contact with the spark. So I'm assuming compression, or there's something wrong internally, I think. So the compression is excellent. It is at 170, which is fine. So I'm going to say something's wrong on the inside. Something's going to miss. If you're getting spark and you put fuel on the top and it doesn't ignite, then there's definitely something wrong. So where does that leave us? One thing I did notice is the shaft is bent, so, which is a bit annoying. So that is, yeah, even if it was running, the shaft itself is no good. That could have done some damage on the inside. I don't like ending videos like this. I like to see things working and running at the end. Unfortunately, this one, I could split the crankcase and I could probably have a look inside and see what's going on. To repair this, unless you had something to put it onto, it's just a complete waste of time and money. So I think I'm going to tidy all this up, clean up the oil, which is just everywhere, and made a nice big mess. Yeah, so I'll still put this up, guys, for you guys to watch. I know, obviously, this is one more fail for my record. I think when you get an engine with no oil and what looks to be, well, it's been separated from the machine, there's probably a reason why, and I think someone's looked at this before in the past and deemed this junk. So I think we're in this one here, guys. So like always, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.